Yeah, game dev life, making cool stuff. So we'll start off with the stand-ups, and then I'll give some brief lectures over like some typical things in Unity game development that are used very often, triggers and colliders and rigid bodies. I might just do like a little, from now on, I'm just going to do little short, hey, here's a trick in Unity you should probably know about. Oh, and I forgot to add animation sprites and Tilemaps. So I'm going to do, hey, here's some stuff about Tilemaps and sprites. Here's some stuff about triggers and colliders. And here's some stuff about rigid bodies. I don't know if y'all are familiar with all those terms, but we'll just go over them and make sure that you know the tricks of the trade, the tools in the toolbox for Unity, because it might make your life easier. Who knows? I saw a message in Weekly Stand Up. Let me just make sure. That's Devin. Okay. So let's do our stand-ups. And like we said, it's going to be what'd you do last week? What'd you do this week? Or what'd you do last week? What will you do this week? And do you have any roadblocks going on? Is there anything I can help you with? What difficulties have you encountered? We could do it on a per person basis, or we could do it on a per group basis. The point of this is that each person takes no longer than, 30, 45 seconds. And we just pop through, and it should take 5 to 7 minutes to get through everybody. And that's kind of the agile style, is popping through everything. This normally happens every morning of every day in an agile environment. Like everybody says, this is what I did yesterday, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow, today, and this is what roadblocks I'm hitting, as opposed to the weekly thing. But I can only see you once a week, so you're free to use that stand-up section in Discord to do it every day, to make sure everybody's on the same page about stuff, and then I know any roadblocks you might have, or we can just do it at the end of each week, and you tell me like this. So let me pull up my notes in case anybody does have any roadblocks that I can help them with, and I'll write it down. The point is I don't interrupt anybody as they go along. I just I write stuff down. I'm the Scrum master, they call it, the Agile master, who figures out what problems people are having, and then throughout the day I resolve it, or in this case throughout the week. Okay, so let me also bring up this so I know so that I don't forget any of the groups, because I have like Gammon, Getty, LaRocca, Robertson, Evans, that type of thing. Okay, so how about we start with, I think I had an order. I think I just went alphabetical, except for some reason I forgot what the alphabet is in that area. But okay, well, in all these areas really. So let's do Cleverleaf.
Oh, okay. Which of us, does it matter who in the group goes first?
Not really. It's I guess, yeah, normally like when in an in-person one, you see the person who's about to start talking, so it's okay. In this situation, it's a little weirder. Let's sure, you go first.
Oh, okay.
Done. I'm the decider.
So this last week, using the feedback you gave us, I finally feel like I understand layout groups better now, and I fixed all the furniture placement. So they're all in the places they should be, even when you change the ratio.
Awesome. That's a big step.
Yes. I made and set up the new scene for the start screen, and I laid out our customization screen for the character. And I imported all the new assets and made them sprites. The one roadblock that I ran into was that I couldn't fix from your feedback was with the map screen that we're making. It's not, I just need to mess with it a bit more. Yeah, there's the dots, and also like the actual map itself is not scaling to the whole screen. Like it's, I don't know. I have to mess with it a little bit, and then once that works, I'll have to figure out ways to line up the dots accurately, because they're not exactly on any sort of grid or anything. They're just
Yeah.
kind of like on the map itself. And I know you mentioned that you might talk about ways, like there might be a certain way to do an overworld type of situation.
Yeah,
Would there
I'm
be
thinking
like
that might not be a UI. I think that might be like a 3D, well, 2D object that we're going to be talking about tile maps today.
all right, cool.
We'll be talking about tile maps today, and that might help us get where we need to be.
All right,
I
perfect.
got a message as I'm verified. It's not anybody trying to get in the class. Oh, there's Mercy. Oh. Quick, everybody stop talking about Mercy.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late.
All right. Okay, so cool. I'll keep that in mind, Emily. How about who's next in that group?
I
Whoever
could
wants to
go
go.
next.
Oh, sure.
So last week I looked for videos on like character customization, since that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. And I found a perfect video that actually is like, it's like a 6-part series. The first part was literally like an introduction video. So technically it's a 5-part series on how to do character customization. And like if we had a like a game where like you see the character constantly, you can make it so that you see the customization even on the character as you're going through the game. So I found that. I did the match game lab, so I know how to set up the match game levels, which is going to be a breeze now since I have reference. Trying to think of what else.
I missed the first 2 things. Sorry, I was like distracted because it wasn't telling me who was talking, and I was like, oh god, who's?
That's fine.
Found it.
I looked for character customization. So
Okay.
I found like a 5-part video series for that.
And that's like putting on hats and stuff?
Yeah, like
Okay.
putting on like hats and like changing like skin tones and stuff for a character. And it looks like it's going to be easy. I just have to go through it. And I have to create some art as like I have to create my own art to do the lab. So let's see. Next week I want to have all of like the menus done. Like I want to do like open and closing menus, like returning to home, closing the game, etc., and getting all the card levels set up. And I noticed a roadblock is that I've had is that I type too fast. So I make a lot of like little errors like that you saw last night. Like I forget like semicolons, and I put things in groups that aren't should be in groups. And I forget like before with I forgot to put like the F behind the number.
I mean, that's just learning the syntax. The more you do it, the better you'll get, and hopefully you don't have to do it too much, because in the real world there's going to be like this pro programmers hanging out, unless you find out that you're a technical artist over this and you realize, oh, I enjoy making things happen through code. So I'm glad to hear that you've gotten that far, and whenever you have problems, you know I'm always there.
Thank you. We saved the best for last.
I'm not going to say Anjanette this time.
All right, let me just pull it up in the channel so I can, there we go. So I got confused in what you said, and I thought that what did I do last week meant like the week before this current week.
It's because like on Friday.
Right.
Now, yeah, I get you though. And like you did that a couple days ago. It's all good. So did you end up doing Strawberries Not Done? Did you end up doing the work on furniture customization?
No, I didn't yet, because I had to talk about it with Emily, because I am trying to like scale down on the project a little bit so it can be easier for us to draw. Agreed. And easier for us to put together. So instead of doing like a full customization of the furniture, we decided to do like customizing the pillows, blankets, and like things that go like the details of the furniture instead of like recoloring the entire thing. So that's what we're going to work on. And I actually got a lot of my time sucked into preparing the character customization menus, since that's what Devin's working on. So I did all the buttons for that and all the, and as much of the art as I could do. And I spent way too long putting it into Photoshop and cropping everything and saving it in the best format possible so it would be easy for Devin. And that took a really long time, but you know, it wasn't hard. It was just time consuming. What else did I do? Right, I finished sketching all of the cards. I have, I think, half of them are lined and colored, and I need to work on the rest. I think what's going to be quote unquote challenging is figuring out how to do the character customization, but I think that once Devin has the system in place, she can tell me what she needs me to produce, and then I can do that as art. And aside from that, the other big change I did was get rid of the storage menu, because that was redundant in the end, and instead change how crafting recipes are unlocked and how they're used in the game. So I'm also going to have to draw those crafting recipes and the UI symbol for when things are locked and how they're unlocked and all of that. But for me, the work is basically just going to be a lot of art. So that's why I'm trying to scale it down a little bit to be able to do everything. And for now, I think I provided Emily and Devin with all the sketches that they needed, so I can just work on filling in the little things that they made with the art that I produced.
Yep.
So
you got them the gray boxes, and they can go crazy at it. They can go at it.
I think I got them everything. Yeah. Did I get you everything, Emily?
Yes, and more. I was about to say how grateful I am that you already like cut out all the little options for the customization thing. I'm like, oh my god, look at this gift. I just have to throw it in there.
Yes. So that's
also,
what I'm doing.
If you need help like with art, please let me know. I can do some things.
I know your art is so cute. It's just like I don't want to feel like I'm not doing enough for the team. So
okay,
it looks like you're doing a lot.
Time out. Are you
You do so much for the team,
we gotta. Well, I'll address this at the end. I'll even write a little note. Lol, not doing enough.
Okay, but it's like.
Okay, we'll address this at the end. But a stand-up keeps moving, so that's great to hear. I agree with simplification and a reminder. You can get those screens working well, like, oh, the customization screen and whatever screen, and you don't need to necessarily do the economy yet of like connecting one thing to the other. Just make them each work on their own. And then you can sort it, because that's the raw, like I have the basis for how these things would work. And then now I can add the limitations, which would be the economy. So that might make your life easier in planning. Because you can just make the scenes do it, because then that's how you figure out if it's fun or not. It's like, oh, let me interact with it, and then you can sort out connecting everything together, the sinew that makes everything work.
So I forgot to mention that I put a Trello board together too.
Oh sure, I'll add that. I think I saw that.
I just accidentally kicked my cat. Forgive me while I threw myself out the window.
All right, so that was Cloverleaf. Curing Rush. Where'd my notes go? Curing Rush.
Curing Rush. Anyway. Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm looking at like what I wrote down originally was for the group, but I guess I'll just pick up the stuff that I did, and we're doing like.
I don't care either way. If you want to do for the group, that's fine too. Up to you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just like really exhausted. Like my eyes are like reptilian. Like, you know those videos from like 2008? It's like Hillary Clinton reptile person, and it's just like her, like they Photoshop her eyes. It's like that. I look like that right now. It's kind of crazy, a little bonkers. Anyway, this week, okay, let's see what got done. I finished some idle animations for the enemies. I got clear designs, like character-wise, so like the mother trees. So it's like cutscenes and, you know, the mini healing game at the end, like levels. I have like a clear idea of how they're going to look, so I can start the art on that. I completed some item obstacle assets like leaves, raindrops, acorns, stuff like that. Belinda was able to find like a font we can use for buttons and dialogue. I was able to finish menu art, and we both did like button layout stuff. Got on the GitHub. I updated the game document. Belinda was able to finish the fire backdrop for level 2. And we found like more music for like I want to say 4 different sections, which is really, really good. Okay, just wait, we see the plan for next week. Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm blanking. Oh my god. Plan for next week. Okay, this is more like, oh my god, my phone. It's like a problem with me is like I kind of tried to bite off more I can chew with like bigger jobs. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this final sprite render done. I'm gonna finish all the rough animations. I'm gonna start to work on the start screen. And I realized as I was working that wasn't gonna happen. So anyway, let me just go what I'm gonna plan next week. I'll go into that with the roadblocks. I'm jumping all over the place. I am so sorry. Okay, so plan for next week, finish the 3rd and final theory sprite render, finish the last rough animations, so I can get to like my team, so I can start like lining, coloring, etc. Work on the art of fairies in the start screen. Belinda said she was going to finish map art. Hopefully we can line some of the rough animations that are done. We can work on the environments for the other 2 levels. Start coding. We really, really need to start coding. Luckily with the Flatbird lab, I definitely have a better understanding of now. So it's
Which
just like
lab?
The Flappy Bird one.
Oh, yes.
Because if anything is, I don't want to say reskinning because we are going to add stuff, obviously, but it's a good basis.
Hey, you're reskinnovating. That's the thing.
Yeah. So
We all do it.
Yeah. So like I figured now that we all know how to do that, if I need to hop in for like coding, I can definitely do that. Let's see. We gotta get the fairies and trees names. They still don't even have names. I think I named like 1 tree, her name's Wistine, so they need names. Oh gosh. Find more
lore work.
Yeah. Find more music and sound effects. Set the screens in Unity. Hopefully get the coloring animations. I think I got Sarah on that. We need to do a lot of stuff in Unity. We are kind of really behind in that. Roblox. I asked the team and no one really experienced Roblox except for me. And I was trying to say, I kind of bit off more I can chew because I feel this pressure that I gotta have like a lot of big parts done. I feel if I don't have those parts done, my team can't move forward. Like with the rough animations, they can't line anything. There's no rough animations. I gotta get all those done. I feel like I have to get that sprite thing done. I try to like do a lot at once. And considering the fact I'm doing like a lot of other things for the crew and stuff, like typing up documents and stuff, I realized, okay, this is all not gonna get done. So I found myself kind of picking from the backlog. That's like, oh, let me do like the assets. That's gonna take me a very short amount of time, so at least something else is done. Let me start working on music. Let me take care of that. Just little things, and it was just. I figured like I need to work on like prioritizing and picking out like, okay, let's pick like 1 or 2 big jobs, and then like a couple little mini jobs. Instead of like trying to bite off all at once, because that's not gonna happen. I just gotta figure out like what's going to help the team most at this moment and yada yada. It's just it's a mess, Justin. I'm just like, oh god. I'm kind of passing away a little bit.
I would say like for the music and stuff, since I haven't even done a lab on sound management in Unity, unless you're a rhythm game or a music game, I wouldn't sweat it until you've at least seen my lab on it.
Okay, which is fun.
Like I remember my old animator class. They're like, don't put sounds in your animation because then I'm going to be grading on the sounds instead of the animation. Oh. So like, yes, this is a game design course and I want you to get the full scope of everything. But for non-music games, sound is so far down the line of like getting the components in. Because sound is a flourish. Like, you know, that's what gives the user a lot of feedback in the end. Yeah. And the music and like that helps set the tone of the game and that type of thing. But it's like, it's not like functionally necessary for that vertical slice to work.
Okay, I guess.
So if it helps, I'd chill on the sounds for a bit, wait until I actually could get around to following through with making that lab on how to do sound management. And then after that point, you can start working on it. But then until then, you can focus on all the other stuff that needs to get done. Because yeah, you're right. It's a lot of game. It's a lot of game. And and just don't burn yourself out. Like if you feel like what you've assigned yourself is too much, then it's okay to assign yourself less, because unlike a job that pays you, you're working 3 or 4 jobs that pay you. Like you have 3 or 4 classes that you're taking, and they all have different responsibilities. So I can't expect a 40-hour work week from you. You know, it's
Yeah, I got
a
you.
little crazy. So parse yourself down to, they call that the velocity. So you gave yourself tasks and it turned out that you didn't get everything done. And that means that your velocity is slower than what you were expecting because of your life. So we need to, next time you give yourself assignments for this week, make sure that your estimate is less so that your velocity will match your task list.
Yeah, for sure. Like in a way, I feel like I look at my jobs like, damn, I couldn't even get all that done. That's kind of sad. But then I look at everything else I'm juggling. So I'm
Yes,
just
it's
like,
a lot of stuff. And you have, it's not, I'm not your only class.
yeah.
So I'm not going to say like, you need to be ready for my class, and my class is more important than your other classes, because A, that's disrespectful to you, and B, that's disrespectful to the other professors. So
Yeah,
it's
I
not
get
my style. Okay. Was that for you, or is that for the group-ish?
That was more for the groupish because I was like typing everything
Okay.
down. But I know like Sarah, she wants to like talk about like.
Does anybody want to chime in things in addition to that?
Like, I think I heard Sarah just now. But,
Yeah, I did too.
okay.
Come on in, Sarah.
Sarah.
Oh boy. This week I did make a document, at least for myself, that to find the scripts we needed. So I found like a video tutorial how to do like character select of like clicking on different characters.
Mhm.
What else did I did? I got onto GitHub and learned how to do that. Also I went by the Trello board Lexi made for the group, so I can see what do you call it? What to do for each week. The only issues I have are like family issues that are coming up, so I'm behind on typing those scripts up.
Okay. Scripts getting typed up. Life.
And yeah, and like Lexi said, for this week I was going to do like line work and coloring for those roughs she needed.
Let's try that, a little typo. Next week. Say that again. You're gonna line stuff.
Yeah, like she'll just do the real sketches and we'll do like the line work, adding the lines and like coloring it in.
Oh, do you have a I'm not an artist, so I probably should have mentioned this to the whole class earlier. Are you familiar with the term art Bible?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think for like character design class, they had like an art Bible thing.
Okay.
Or
And
that character Bible, I can't remember. I know
and
there's like
Jill
something
said
for
somewhat.
Bible.
Okay. So art Bible, that's a thing that we do in that's the thing that you do as an artist if you're the lead artist, which I think in this case Lexi kind of is. I think that Angel kind of is, because like the concept is getting all done, and then people like line stuff and all that kind of thing. So an art Bible is a collection of documents that outline color choices, specific RGB values of the colors that you want to use in general. Like, oh, I think these, have you done color theory?
Yes.
Okay, so like I think this triad of colors are the things that I want to use the most, or whatever, because I know you can do a triad. I know you can do the, are you familiar with like the color wheel, like figuring out, yeah, like there's the triad one, and then there's the quad one where like there's four colors that match, and I'm just doing Spider-Man. And then there's the binary one where there's 2 opposing colors, which you can use. So you pick like, oh, these are the 4 colors I'm going to do, or the 3 colors that I want to be prevalent throughout it. I assume you're going to be a 3-color game because there's 3 characters, and so that everything's going to be modeled around that. And then there are opposing colors to be the enemies. These are the general for line work. the general line thicknesses, like what do I expect? Mood boards. So how do I want each level to feel? And you'd like put a bunch of pictures together of like different works, whether it's like screenshots from some other games or like some movies or whatever. You plop them in there, you say, this is kind of how I want it to feel. So the other artists working on it go like, oh, that's how they want it to feel. Oh, these are the specifics of like what colors I'm allowed to use and what, or that I should use, and what line thicknesses I should have, all that type of stuff. That is what you put in an art Bible, so that when Jimmy the intern artist pops in, he knows exactly how to make the artwork match everything else in the game.
Gotcha.
I think I heard a little bit that last week that Angel had worked on one. I think I remembered hearing something about like, oh, you made a color palette or something. But anyway, that's an art Bible. Yeah, a little color palette. That's an art Bible. It's useful for a bunch of artists working together. I'm not an artist, so you can look up. I can include that in a lecture. I can do some research on like better art Bible techniques.
Okay. That sounds very helpful, because I know the mood board stuff. It's just that me with colors are very bad.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm partially colorblind. Half my coworkers are all men, genetically, have a small amount of color blindness in them. So none of us see the world in the same way.
Sure.
So yeah, having the specific hex colors or the specific RGB values is hugely helpful, because they go, oh, I thought I'd pick the same color. It's like a totally different color. Now I'm curious about this Ko-fi person. Everybody's talking about Ko-fi. Okay, so cool. Belinda, did you have anything to add to Lexi's list, or is that kind of accurate? Oh, is Belinda here?
No, she's not here.
Oh, okay, then we're good. Okay.
Yeah, she was up pretty late working on environment art. So just
Yeah.
yeah. I think
I was like, actually, I don't remember seeing her, so we're good. Okay, so that's Curing Rush. What's next? I had a list. Monkey C.
Hey, what's up? We're gonna do it as a group scrum.
Cool. A group scrum. Welcome to the group scrum.
Group scrum. Okay. Pulls up the list. I lost the list. Okay. I'm finding the list. Okay. So what we did this week, so we got set up on GitHub. So that was really cool. And I actually learned how to use it. Very swag, very cool. And we also set up our Trello. We're gonna polish that this week. We're gonna like finalize the timeline, and we have like a task management one too. So we have 2 boards. We gathered a few sound and music resources. We planned a few scripts, such as like the inventory.
I thought you sent me your Trello.
Yes.
Oh, weird. It's not on my. I thought I would have favorited it. It must still be in the assignment list.
I will pull it up for you.
It's all good. I'll do it later. It's fine.
Wait, if I send this in the chat, will everyone be able to see it? Wait, what if I DM
Yes.
it? What if I DM it to you? I DM'd it to you on the
Nice.
chat. Yay.
Where's that
Smart
favorite
notes.
button? Oh,
It's
I
for
didn't
not.
notice it.
Oh,
there
it's
it
right
is.
by the
Oop.
title. Yeah. Woo.
Cool. Okay. So let's get a feel. I should have done this actually in the first place. It's all good. Okay. So got it. You completed these. Oh, you've done the monkey sprite? Where's the monkey sprite? You can attach it as like a comment. That'd be cute.
Oh, wait, that's cool.
Okay. Cool. Oh, you got a lot of work.
Smiles.
Lol, lol, lol. Okay. So you got, okay. You're going to do this. Okay. Touch input for mobile scripting. What's this one? Oh, this type of stuff. Okay. Yeah. Like what I did for jumpy cube where you read the touches and you read the first touch, and when it's the down phase,
Yes.
then do something. Except this is
Yeah.
kind of doing everything. Coco. Okay, got it. Inventory coding, good luck. I did a basic one of it last lab, but I think I looked at this one and it made sense, so I'll allow it.
Yay.
Okay, cool.
Cool bean.
Any roadblocks?
So we have like a base shop set up, but we're trying to like figure out how to get it to work how we want, like buying some, like you would buy something at the shop and then it would go into your inventory, I suppose.
Yeah, so what I'd recommend is, one, use player prefs to keep track of your inventory, your currency. Player prefs is like a specific thing I saw. No, I think it was Savannah. I don't think it was Angel. I think it was Savannah working on player pref stuff. She's not here though, right? Yeah, she's not here. I think I saw somebody messing around with player prefs. Just research that. It's how save systems work in Unity. You set player prefs to like integers or strings, so you can say like coin count is equal to 10, and then next time you close and come back, it'll stay and it'll still be 10. And then applying those to your store elements. Just have, when you purchase an item, it triggers, instead of like what I have in my lab where on step on the little circle, instead of that adding it to your inventory, have the button itself that like purchases tied to that same method that adds the thing to your inventory.
Okay.
Bim bam boom.
Cool beans.
Show of hands, or I guess like emojis or something. Who did the inventory system lab? No emojis? Oh no.
I raised my hand.
Oh, I see over there. Yeah. That's the thing. Okay, so one person. How was it? Was it okay?
It got kind of frustrating, partially just
Yeah, I
very long.
yeah. I said it was a doozy. I warned you all. I said that yeah, if things seem like they're a doozy, get as far as you can and turn that in, because I know it's a lot. It's just like I saw a lot of people needed inventory systems. Or do one of the alternatives. It's all good. This week is also a bit of a doozy, and I invite you to get as far as you can in it, or to do another part that is like do a different lab, a different online tutorial that feeds into your project directly, whether it's like an art lesson or a monkey. Oh, what is a doozy? Oh, a doozy is it's a colloquialism that stands for this is something that is big and difficult. Let's see if I can get a better definition of that. Doozy. Oh, doozy.
Is that how you spell it?
No, I would expect it to be D-O-S-E.
I thought it would be
D-O-S-E-Y or something.
Oh,
Doozy. Dozy?
I think it's D O O Z Y.
Oh, that doozy?
Yeah.
Yeah, something extraordinary, impressive, or unique. I've never actually spelled the word doozy.
Or if it also says it's like troublesome, difficult, or problematic.
Yeah, so
true.
So that is how I describe not only my labs, but also my life. No, but it's problematic.
I like the definition. Very fun.
Yeah. So yeah, the lab is a doozy. A doozy.
Z.
I like this. So I totally understand, and I'm here to help get through it, or to help you find alternative labs that are more relevant to your not only your background, but like to what your group project is. Yeah, that works. Yeah, it's a bit like a big overwhelming task, but like in a Midwestern mom kind of way. Yeah. So it was a doozy, and I'm sorry that you found it frustrating, and I take the blame. Life. Okay, so helping you set up the shop to buy items is your personal doozy.
Yes, but
Okay.
I think it's just more so getting on and doing the coding, because we didn't really do that much this week. Because busy,
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, that's not a roadblock. That's just something you didn't get done.
Yeah, that's definitely not a roadblock. It's just me being kind of a lazy ass. I can't lie. But let's see what else. So next week we also want to like list out the specific animations we need from
Okay, there.
from our good friend Lee. And finish the Trello timeline and actually do coding. Smiles.
Coding, and what was the last one? Art?
Listing out specific animations we would need.
Okay. Smiling because it woulda, coulda, shoulda, or smiling because of something else?
No, because Mercy said I was their close good friend.
Oh. Nani? Tokudeska. Okay. Yeah, it's totally taken 5 to 10 minutes, right? Greenhouse game isn't here. Savannah, you're not here, right? No. Alex, I saw you, right? Okay. Your game was called Mood Killer or something, right?
We're not sure about the name
Okay.
yet.
I'm gonna call it Meow Beat Saber. Done. No. Cat themed rhythm game. Done. And I'll let you figure it out. We have a few test titles. Okay, so cat themed rhythm game. How are we doing?
It is going okay. There were a couple roadblocks this week, just including health issues.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we've created most of the art that we need to use for the game, not including UI elements, which we're going to be focusing on probably this week. And what else did we do? We did the a lot of the coding for just the main gameplay loop of being a rhythm game.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And also, I just have to work on scene management is my biggest roadblock right now. It's weird and it's, yeah.
I can help with that.
Yeah.
I'll put that as a roadblock.
And that is the biggest issue we're having right now. Everything else is going all right, pretty much.
What tutorial did you follow for the gameplay loop? Did you follow one or just kind of YOLO?
I found one that was on YouTube. I can't remember exactly what it was called.
Is it listed in the homework submission? I might share it with the others because we have a few rhythm games going on.
I don't think it is, but I will send it to you if
Okay.
I find it again. Yeah, and that's pretty much most of the updates that I can give.
Okay, and so you have your rhythm. So the rhythm game is set up.
Almost.
Like, is that
it
part
has
of the code?
Mostly, it has a couple problems, but we're still figuring it out.
Okay, cool. And did the tutorial show you how to match a song to the rhythm?
Not yet. We still have to figure that bit out.
Oh, so is it more episodes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Rock and rhythm.
Guess I'll start.
Sure.
We didn't really manage to get much done this week. I basically just started kind of gray boxing out the scenes, basically translating the prototypes we made into like something that can be built off of, so that we're not just staring at a blank screen. I still need to set up like the connection between screens and that kind of stuff. And I also want to, so far all you've shown with the, like, I was basically trying to apply the stuff like the UI boxes that you showed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to kind of try and do is see if like there's a way for, because like right now it's just like vertical or horizontal. I want to see if there's a way to get like a button setup that's like diagonal.
Oh, interesting.
Like add some offsets, and so it's not just like regular boxes.
Okay. So what I would do the vertical, and then across each vertical, I would assign different left padding. Yeah. I could show, I have an idea for that.
Okay.
So you have your vertical layout group, right?
Yeah.
Your vertical layout group, you have elements in it that represent each of your buttons. I assume this is like the menus where you have the slanties, like the slanted
like
button designs.
Like, yeah.
So for each one of those, I would then, for those elements that are in it, those elements aren't the buttons themselves. They're just containers that you can then put a button in and give it a specific pixel on the left offset so that you can have all your elements line up. So that the vertical layout group is laying out those parent elements, but then within those parent elements, you can add some offsets by having child buttons. I think that's how I'd do it. But we can talk about it, and we can carve out something for this week, because that's an interesting problem. I'll write that as a roadblock, so that I know that I need to pop in and hang out and see if we can do something. Buttons, slanted button style via layout group, question mark.
And right now it feels like the biggest roadblock for my group is that we don't really have a plan, and we're running into a lot of like communication issues on like who should be doing what. And like I know we talked about it earlier in the week, but it's still
Okay, persists. Task divvying.
not even just like tasks, but also just like the overall direction for the game.
Yeah, task and game direction clarity. Task assignments and game direction clarity. Okay, cool. So we will continue to hammer that out. Fortunately, it's week 6. We got till week 15, and it's still in the kind of pre-production phase. And yeah, we'll work through it. I'll do my best to help sort that out. Normally, there's a person whose full-time job is to sort out the tasks and the plan, but this isn't a company. So that they call it that. That's why I was saying they call me the Scrum Masters, because there's actually somebody's job to like look at everybody's Trello cards and like move stuff around and like bother people about updates. Like these are all people's jobs. So yes, let's work together a little more and try to hammer it out some more and just get ourselves into a clear, like, this week I am doing X, Y, Z. And everybody can say the same thing, so that we have kind of a clear path and then a clear definition of maybe we should sit down all of us and just sort out what is Rock and Rhythm as a game. Because right now, I think the definition is enough. It's okay. It's a guitar fret type rhythm game, and it's relatively simple, and there's some song selections. But having more clarity than that will require more discussion. So yeah, let's hang out and talk about more. Are the others? Let me check.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, yes.
Well, for this week, I will admit, I'm having a really bad week, and therefore my motivation is almost completely gone. So I did I followed the rhythm tutorial that you linked, the guitar one.
Mhm.
I ran into a pretty big problem. One of the code strings I entered did not work.
Okay.
And because I'm very new to this, I did not figure out what wasn't working. So I'll send that to you later today.
Sure.
So we can figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the big roadblock.
All right. So we've got, okay, so the rhythm tutorial coding. And so I assume this week you're going to be continuing down that path. And since Alex's group has gotten some progress on rhythm style games, maybe I'll have y'all chat together and see like what can be extracted between projects, because they're two rhythm games and there are differences, but having collaboration between groups I'm not against it.
Okay.
My wife is picking up things on Facebook Marketplace, and we're both like, "Are you going somewhere too sketchy? I can't tell until you're there." And she was like, "Yeah, it was really sketchy." So I'm always like checking because we hear all those horror stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so
one time my dad drove out to like North Jersey to give a guy a guitar.
Jersey was your first problem. Oh.
Well, I can't choose that. I live here.
Yeah. Well, my grandma lived in Long Branch, so I lived there a lot. I just make fun of Jersey. It's fun.
Yeah.
As I'm a Philadelphian, I have to make fun of Jersey. Now, at least New Jersey doesn't have Skippick, Pennsylvania, the worst place on earth. Okay.
I don't know. I think Wilkes-Barre's worse.
So woke there. Oh, did you say Wilkes-Barre or Wilkes-Barre?
Wilkes-Barre.
Okay, because those are both places. Wilkes-Barre, yeah. Well,
Yeah, Wilkes-Barre sucks. I live there.
I lived in Morristown, New Jersey. That sounds right. It was like right over the bridge. That's all right.
Heard of it. At least heard that name.
All right. Okay, so we'll talk about the tutorial issues you're having, and you can send that along to me. Maybe we'll collaborate a bit with Alex to see their progress, his progress on rhythm game stuff, the tutorials that they were doing, and how much they can be kind of translated over. And yeah, cool. Or vice versa. Maybe your rhythm game, maybe there's just a small problem with the code, boom, 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 and then it can be transferred over. Who knows? Cool. And I do hope whatever life stuff is going on, just like with what Sarah's mentioning, what everybody, pandemic time and family and all that type of stuff, mental health and family health is more important than this class, and never put work for here above that unless you want to get used to the real workplaces doing that to you. I'm not going to do that to you, but real workplaces will pressure you. Okay. But yeah, for serious, stay healthy, and manage yourself more than classes. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just a class. Sarah?
I'm here, yes.
Oh wait, I'm conflating projects. You're not in Rock and Rhythm. Are you in Rock and? No. No, you already talked. Yeah, okay. Is there another person in Rock and Rhythm? Am I confusing?
Yeah,
things?
but she never does. But she's not. But I don't think she comes to the. I don't. I've never seen Christy here.
Okay. I think it's because I post these videos online, and Christy doesn't want her presence posted online. But either way, I'll chat with her on the side, see like, hey, how things going, unless she already posted in the weekly stand-up. She did not. I'll just say Christy. Actually, I'll take what you guys did and I'll assume. I know that Christy worked on music stuff. I don't know if she finished that 30-second loop thing that was going on. Okay, and then Devin. Whose group is Devin in? Oh wait, Devin, you're here. I was like, didn't they talk already? I'll only require. Yeah, I was like, wait, I already talked. I was reading the so in the weekly stand-up channel.
Oh
I'll only say that's necessary if you're not attending the class. If you're here,
Okay.
yeah, I'll hear what you have to say. You can type in there to gather your notes and stuff. Just a heads up. I'm not going to push it on you if you're in class and we're talking. Okay, so is that everybody? Did I miss anyone? Okay, if that's the case, going once, going twice. I think I got everybody. Okay, so I'm going to add this in the notes section here. Boom. So that I will make a mental note to check on this and see how people are doing. Awesome, thank you. That's why the roadblocks are really important, so that I can help break them. So I'll take a look at everybody's stuff later. It's 10 o'clock, okay. Take a 5-minute break. I'm going to grab some coffee. Everybody do what you got to do. And I'll talk a little bit about triggers and colliders, sprite sheets, and what else? I think I also talk about rigid bodies. Oh, no, I don't. Okay. So that was my problem. Get out of here, rigid bodies. So I'll talk about animation sprites and Tilemaps and triggers and colliders. And hopefully that'll give you some ideas if you're working on stuff. Okay, take 5. Ta-da! Everybody back? I'll give another 2 minutes.
Oh.
I'm back.
Guess who's back? Back again. Is that? I assume that mid 2000s Eminem
Yeah, I
Is-
remember it.
is beyond. Oh, do you remember it or you don't remember it?
I know it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay, I was like, how old am I? Let's find out. That's what happened in the stand-up channel. I was like, wait, I made a reference to Ghostbusters, but that movie came out before I was born, so I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
how
my
many
dad made me watch it. So
I usually use Men in Black, the first one, or the first Ghostbusters as a rubric for the perfect comedy. An hour and a half, everything's tightly written, everything's solid.
oh,
Love them. Mwah. I love the first Men in Black, and I love the first Ghostbusters. Fucking Ghostbusters is weird. And then Ghostbusters 2016 is a travesty. 2017? No, I think it's 2016.
yeah.
The game was pretty good though. That like 2007 game that was re-released last year. That game's pretty good.
What game?
The Ghostbusters game.
Oh.
It's pretty good. But I'm a Ghostbusters super fan, so I'm a bad judge. Do, re, Egon. Okay. Alice. Oh wait, Emily is in the waiting room. Emily, you weren't in the waiting room the whole time, right? I'm gonna assume that she left and came back.
She's still connecting.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna assume that everybody's back. Everybody do a high five emoji if you're back.
That would be like the right hand one. It's like.
Do they have any other? Oh, they do. I was like, do they even have any other emojis? How do you do the emojis? Is it the little dot 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 next to the name?
I think like there's something you're on like mobile or something. Have like reactions where you can high
Oh
five
yeah,
people
because I'm
laugh.
on. Yeah. I want an emoji.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Go zoom tight. Okay, I think that was like everybody. It was close. Okay. Let's chat about triggers and colliders. Have y'all heard of the terms triggers and colliders other than
Yep.
my labs?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not new, but how do you understand how they're used and all that kind of thing?
Sort of.
Okay. So hopefully this class will help sort out like what are they, what do they do, when should I use them? Right? So colliders, both 2D and 3D, it doesn't matter. I know that there's 2D systems and 3D systems. They're just how Unity knows when two objects are overlapping or touching, right? And if you do the 2D one, all that does is that it erases the Z depth. So it doesn't matter if one object is falling behind another, it'll still consider them touching because it's a 2D collider. So it's like that. So that's the only difference between 2D and 3D collisions. I actually hit that issue in this week's lab for like 2 seconds ago. Wait, what's going on? Then I realized, oh, I moved my camera to the side and I saw one was falling behind the other. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I should have done 2D colliders, but whatever, it's fine. So colliders are just how Unity knows two things are overlapping one another or touching one another. And the difference between a collider and a trigger is a trigger doesn't have any feedback, like it doesn't push the other thing back, it just lets it pass through. A trigger is a collider to give us the information of when things are overlapping, but it doesn't give the physics of like, get out of here. It doesn't do that. That's what a trigger is. So specifically a collider, not a trigger. So a trigger, you have a collider and there's a little checkbox that says is trigger. So a trigger is a collider, but I'm going to talk about colliders for a moment, not necessarily triggers. When you're doing a collision event in your script, you type on collision enter. And I think I've done that a couple times in my labs. On collision enter or on collision enter 2D is both are both for just handling an event of when a collider hits another. The moment the other one hits. Your collisions can be boxes, spheres, capsules, or something more complex like skeletal mesh. I believe you can say like this is a mesh collider and you feed in the mesh you want to use for the collisions, and that's valid too. The more complicated you get, the more resource intensive it is. Usually people get away with using cubes and spheres and stuff. Triggers, unlike colliders, allow objects to pass through them no problemo, no physics. So when when that event happens, instead of calling on collision enter in your script, you'd call on trigger enter. And this is from the perspective of the trigger. So the trigger is some empty game object with a collider on it that has trigger checked off, and it has a script on it that says on trigger enter. The player or whatever passing through does not have on trigger enter because he's not the trigger, he's the collider. So he wouldn't really have logic for on trigger enter. It's the thing that is the trigger gets that script. So when I say enter, exit, and stay, those are keywords in Unity for those method names. So like when I said, oh, you have on trigger enter, there's also on trigger stay and on trigger exit. And same thing for colliders, on collision enter, on collision stay, on collision exit. And those are all just, they go in the script and they have specific use cases. I think I provide some examples. Yeah, so when you enter a collision, that means the collision just happened. This is the moment that it happens. Just like on key down is when I hit the key versus on key stay is when I'm holding it down. So on enter is the moment it happens. On stay is however long I'm on that object, it is firing off that event. Hey, I'm still staying on it. I'm still staying on it. As long as they're close to each other and colliding or triggering, that event will continue firing. And then exit is the moment it leaves. Then that's when that fires off. So for example, enter could be used, on collision or on trigger enter could be used at the moment an enemy hits the player. So like in Mario, a little spiky thing. The moment the spiky thing hits Mario, it hurt him. So you'd use on enter, on collision or on trigger enter, however that game is set up. Boom. It hits him. You say on trigger enter, do the pain, and then you see like Mario flicker. Ow, 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 ow. On collision stay would be used in something like a button, right? Let me see what I say. Okay, so on trigger stay would be like you walk in front of a door in the game, and you know how you get that little prompt that says like press A to open the door? That prompt knows to appear because there's a trigger volume in front of the door that when the player walks into it, and as long as they stay there, that prompt is up. And when they exit, it goes away. So as long as that stay event is there, it's firing off, hey, show that prompt that says like, wow, I just realized I'm doing the OK symbol. It's not OK anymore. There's a little circle. It says press A. And you see like, oh, press A to continue. So as long as that prompt is up, that means that you're in that trigger volume. So you should be using on trigger stay, and there's like a box in front of the door that is a trigger so the player can pass through it and stay there and be like, oh, what do? Oh, I press A, and it opens, and then I leave. Okay, so that's when you would use on trigger stay. There's other examples like when you're walking on top of a button, and as long as the character's on the button, you want it to do something, that could be an on collision stay. And then when they leave, If you're familiar with Zelda, there's always those button puzzles where you walk on the button and it goes down, but then since you leave it, the weight goes away, so it goes back up. That's when you would use on exit. On collision exit, make it go back up. So that's how they do those types of logic. So those are your keywords for your colliders or your triggers: stay, enter, and exit. So let's do a little pop quiz about colliders. If we were to look at Flappy Bird, are you all familiar with the general gameplay of Flappy Bird?
Yep.
Cool, because it doesn't work if you don't. So basically, in Flappy Bird, as you play, and I know you said you're all familiar with it, but whatever. In Flappy Bird, as you go forward, you get a point each time you pass those pipes that are definitely not just lifted off of Mario, right? Every time you pass one of those pipes, you get a point. So how would we handle that? What do you think we would put here to allow the player? Would it be a trigger or collider? Do a high five symbol if it's a trigger. Do a thumbs up if it's a collider.
Wait, what's the high five symbol? Do you mean the clapping?
Oh, let's do clapping. Okay, let's do clapping for trigger or thumbs up for collider. I agree. And what are your options? I don't know how to show those options.
There's clapping, thumbs up, like a crying happy face, like a surprised Pikachu looking face, a heart, and a little party popper.
Okay, party popper if you think it's on enter. Heart if you think it's exit, or surprised Pikachu face if you think it's stay. But whatever the emoji is that looks like surprised Pikachu face. Okay, I see a heart.
Heart was exit, right?
Heart was, did I say heart? It was exit, and what did I say was enter? Party popper?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I see lots of hearts. I see a party popper. I see 2 party poppers. This is arguable. So my opinion is you could do it on enter, but exit is just as valid. It depends on if you want the score to go up once you've passed it or once you've entered it. Is it like a finish line, like, oh, I just crossed it, or is it you have to fully pass it for it to count? I don't know. It depends on the implementation of Flappy Bird that you're currently playing. I agree either way. It just depends on how you want your rules to work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I put exit simply because I remember when I played the game so many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit the pipes, like if you enter and fall, then you don't get a point.
Okay.
So
it must be exit?
Yeah.
I'll take it. So I would do enter or exit. Both are valid because both are things that just fire off once. It just depends on how stingy you want to be with those points on the player. And I agree that it's a trigger. And the way you do it, this is called pseudocode. I mentioned it a little bit with some people last week. Pseudocode it's not literally the code you would write, but it's ballpark so that you know what you need to do later. So on trigger enter, collision other. So I hit something else. Oh, excuse me, on trigger enter. On trigger enter, collision something else. I hit something else. If the other thing, which I believe you do, other.gameObject.tag equals player, then tell the score wherever it is to increase. And that's it. And this is how I would structure the user story. If you're creating this in a Trello card, this is a specific thing that you can do in the game. When the player passes a pipe, the score counter increases. So it's something where it's really obvious if it's working or it's not. It's very clear about when it's done. I thought this might be useful for like not only doing project planning, like Trello cards, but also like learning about pseudocode, learning about triggers and colliders, all that type of thing. Okay, so how about this? When the player hits a pipe on the ground, or a pipe or the ground, the game ends. Do you think, let's do cake, or is there a cake? No, I think it was party popper for trigger, heart for collider.
Can you repeat that one more time?
The user story or the answers?
The answers.
Party popper for trigger, heart for collider. So lots of hearts. And I'm in agreement. It would be a collider because it's something that stops the player from moving. You could make it a trigger, but then you would have to like tell the player's velocity to stop and a bunch of weird stuff. There'd have to be a real good reason for it to be a trigger to do it. But collider is the usual answer I would give. But like everything, it's 1,000 ways to solve a problem where I don't have to use the term skin a cat. There's 1,000 ways to solve a problem, and a collider is going to be 990 of those 1,000. So do you think it would be on collision enter, exit, or stay? Let's do clap for enter, heart for exits, or party popper for stay, because those are the only ones I remember. Okay, I see claps. I see claps. I am in agreement. So I would go with the collider and I would go with enter, because the moment the thing happens, that's when it's game over. It's not when you leave it, which is sometimes like, I've seen games where like you got to hit a ball really, really far, and like it's like a baseball type of game where you're I think Smash Bros even had like a little mini game where you hit this like a thing as far as it could go, and really it's on the end of its slide, not on the beginning of its slide when you would count the score. So I don't know, maybe something like that would be an instance of exit for a collision. But anyway, so this is how I would do it. On whatever objects are obstacles, whether it's the ground or the pipes, I would have attached to that. No, I made these green highlights to show like, oh, these are colliders. I would attach to the object that has those colliders on it something called like obstacle object.cs. I don't know what I would call it, whatever it is. And in that object, it would say on collision enter, 2D or 3D, doesn't matter. If the other thing is a player, so like other.gameObject.tag.compare equals, however that happens. I do it in my labs a few times, but every coding language is different, and I program in Unreal and Unity every day, so I forget. If it was the player, then find the game manager wherever he is and say, hey, game manager, this player, he's not going to make it, and you tell him it's game over. So that's how you could do it. If it's a like damage-based game, instead of telling the game manager that it's game over, you'd say, if the other thing is a player, then take the player and tell him to get damaged. And then the player can say, oh, I got damaged. Is my health now 0? If my health is 0, then tell the game manager game over. So see how I'm talking about everything in English? That's all programming is. It's talking about things in ways that make sense. And then converting that to code that doesn't make sense. So always just make sure before you try to tackle a project that you've looked at the project from a written out perspective, like write what you want to happen and then make it happen in code. Don't just jump into code unless you're a crazy person like me that just flies by the seat of their pants. It's okay to first take a moment to draw a graph out, say like, okay, what's the flow control of how an enemy should be able to damage a player, or how an enemy should know when he's dead. And then write out in English what it is you want to happen. And then it's so much easier to make the code that you want. I do that in the lab this week. I create a game flow diagram of a particular behavior, like, oh, how do I want the enemy to fall from the sky? How do I want the enemy to hit the player? And I turn that into a little visual graph, and then I convert it to code. And I do the same thing with spawning enemies. So I hope that that is educational for you guys of how to do those sorts of things, because it's hugely useful as developers. And as designers, you can tell the programmer exactly what you want to happen and how. The programmer doesn't just go, oh, he takes damage. He has to know how the damage is applied, when it's applied, and what situations would cause it to be applied, like on trigger enter or on trigger exit. You can write that in your graph, all that type of stuff. My wife is still sending me messages, and I'm like, is it still sketchy over there? Okay, so that is a collider enter type of situation is in Flappy Bird. So I am not an artist when I talk about tile maps and spreadsheets. So I'm going to tell you about the tool sets and that they exist, and this is what you could expect from them. And I provide links to tutorials about how to use them because I think they might be helpful for some of your projects. Cool? Just remember, I'm vaguely aware of them, and then I let my artist people do them. Not my artist people. I let the people I work with do them. So I know they exist, and I can help with specific problems, and there are tutorials that exist that can help you do things. So if you're doing something like an environment, and you want to paint that environment in a 2D manner, there are tile maps that you can use. So a grid component, which is this top element, let me hit the present button so it's bigger. So you can right click and create a grid on the right hand side over here. And when you've created a grid, it'll automatically create this little tiles object. Because when I say grid, I mean a tile grid. A tile grid manages a series of tile maps. A tile map is like a layer. So like there's a background tile map, a midground tile map, and a foreground tile map. The foreground tile map is typically where the where like the platforms and stuff would be in a game, whereas the background would be the sky, and the midground would be like the flavor elements, like this like cliffside here that you can clearly walk through because it's like faded. It's like a shadowy thing, so you know you can walk through it. And it's a relatively intuitive painting system that also creates your colliders and stuff for you if you want. And the way that you paint your tile maps is by creating a tile palette. So those palettes are this thing here. And have you all used these things before, or is this all new?
Yeah, we used them in our game projects class, sophomore year, because we were given like
it was this exact
play
thing, right?
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to do this tutorial. This tile map.
Yeah, it's Brackeys, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just making sure you know that the product exists. Don't do everything in UI if you don't need to do it in UI. I'm good with UI, so I think about things in UI elements, and I don't want that to like make your lives harder. So I'm presenting other elements in Unity's engine that exist, and you can also, of course, just place 2D sprites and stuff like normally without using a tile painter. Just know those tools exist, and don't take my word for everything. There are tutorials on this. I believe this was a Brackeys tutorial. Yes, there's a Brackeys tutorial on tile maps and the Unity official tutorial on tile maps. And there's lots of neat features that are coming in every day, like isometric tile maps. So they now support isometric and hex maps so that you can like paint and do cool stuff with. So if you ever want to make an isometric game a la Earthbound, or some of the Final Fantasy older games, then you can. It's supported, and tile maps are sweet. So this is a way that you can paint your environments and add colliders to stuff, and it's relatively functional. I don't know if you were taught this as well, but Tilemaps also support lighting. So if you have a light in the center here, it can influence other objects depending on if they're in the foreground layer, the background layer, or the middle layer. So it knows that things from the foreground layer should shadow the layers under it. So I don't know if they worked with lighting with you for Tilemaps, but that's definitely a tool that's really useful and can make your games really pretty, even though they're 2D. Did they teach that part?
They did a little, yeah.
Okay, cool.
We did
Good.
it like in a cave sort of deal. So yeah.
All right. I'm glad that they discussed some of these parts of things so you're more familiar with them and you know they exist, because I know they exist and I know they're probably helpful in a situation like these games, but as a not artist, I can only say they exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how much have they worked with you on sprite animation? So I know that not only can I do what I do squash and stretch and that type of thing where I'm keyframing stuff, but you can also take a series of sprites that are in animation, like I believe Lexi was working on, looked like, you know, your classic sprite sheet animation where you have a series of flapping wings or whatever, and you can drag those into Unity so that you have your four idle animation flapping, and then you drag those into an animation and it'll automatically distribute them across whatever time frame you want.
Yeah, we did those too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how familiar are you with the animation graph?
And I mean, I'm personally very familiar, but yeah,
Awesome.
we did that too. So
okay, cool. So this stuff are things you're comfortable with, and things that if you need to brush up on it, I have links here. Each of those, all these are hyperlinks. If you want to brush up on stuff, these are all here, and you can watch through them and figure. And that's definitely a lab or whatever. If you want to do this as a lab, that's fine, because this might be important for your project. That is how you can set up sprite animations to play inside of a game, and how you can paint your environments with 2D tile maps if that's your cup of tea. Cool. I mean, that was my only real lecture portion today was the colliders. So like the programmer side of like this is a part of your tool set that you can use, and the art side, and sprite maps and tile maps are things that you can use that are also a part of your tool set. And now, are you all comfortable with me popping into some of your projects right now, just opening them up and giving my opinions on stuff, or do you want that to be done privately? I'm cool either way. Anyway, okay, homework this week. Similar to last week. I want some mandatory inclusions in this week. I want to see your Trello or spreadsheet of your tasks and how you're doing on them. I want, if you have a Trello, invite me to it. I want to see an updated game design document using the template that I have attached in the assignment and in the assignment from last week if you haven't seen it. So that way everybody's consistent in the design document delivery. And you can add to it if you want. I want a current version of the Unity project, because now we're really grinding on the Unity development. Now we're like starting to move into like, oh, we need to do everything. We have our plan set up. Let's start actually making stuff work in Unity. I know some people have started yet, some people haven't, and that's fine. But now, since we're, like 9 weeks away, we should start dipping our toes in the Unity side of things, if we haven't already. So what are those 3 to 5 things? Assignment. The 3 to 5 things, that's week 5. I hate how it auto scrolls. Okay. Boom. Oh yeah, if you're using a GitHub, also provide a link to that. If you're not, you don't need to. Continue working on polishing art assets based on my comments or on what the project needs. Continue working on the technical programming of the scenes if that's what you're working on. And that's what some people really should start be doing. organize your game into prefabs so that people can collaborate on them and work on them individually. So if one person, I showed Lexi this yesterday, when she was working, she was able to work on her prefab, then just oh no, it was Belinda. She was able to right click it, export it, and then Lexi was able to just include it as was just able to pull it through GitHub because Belinda turned it into a U package and a Unity package, was able to put it in the new version of the project, and bam, bam, boom, was done. So prefabs are hugely useful, and I can show you how to transfer prefabs from one thing to another because it makes your life easier, even if you're not working through GitHub. Create design-oriented diagrams that show how you think particular game logic should work that are based off of your user stories. That's in the lab this week. And I provided an image down here of another example of that. If design is your flavor and you want to kind of sort out how everything's going to work, that's totally a valid thing because then the programmer's life will be a lot easier because you've defined how everything you want to work. Fill out additional sections of your game design document, maybe using chapter 14 or using the formal elements that are in chapter 3. That's all cool too. And then follow through with any necessary tutorials that you think you'll need to get the project done. When I say polishing art assets, that includes music, audio, if that's important for your particular project. I don't want you to think that it's not. Cool. Whew. Did that get through everything? Okay, that was that. And the lab is the same as usual. I have a video lab. Feel free to take it. If you don't want to take that one, then you can instead do any of the alternates or do one of these tasks in place. Cool?
Sounds good.
Yes.
Sick. Did that answer all your questions, Sarah?
Yes.